All right, guys, it is Monday night at 8:30, walking around my neighborhood, and I felt kind of bad because I haven't been making a whole lot of videos lately. I've been kind of frayed at both ends, trying to just figure out my new schedule and everything. I'm having to kind of turn some of my daily habits and routines on their head just to accommodate all the new adjustments. So one of the things that has really suffered is my production of videos, which, is always a challenge anyway, but yeah, I always want to. It's a matter of how tired I am versus my willingness to go through with it. But here we are. It's kind of cool outside. As you can see, I'm wearing a jacket and got my Dockers cap on. But yeah, it feels really nice. And unfortunately doesn't stay cool long enough down here. But anyway, what I was going to talk about is how this time of the year, and really every time of the year, but especially around the holidays like this, our patience can really be tried, can't it? And it's really not a lot of things that tries our patience. It's a lot of people, right? I mean, it's very challenging to try to deal with the selfishness and the attitudes of people when we're out and about, right? Whether we're in traffic or in a store, maybe we're sitting in a restaurant, we see how someone's treating a server. People are cutting us off, and all sorts of things. All sorts of things. And the expectation of buying gifts on Christmas. I love buying gifts, but if you feel stressed about what you're going to get, if you put too much pressure on yourself to get just the right thing, it can leave you feeling kind of bad, along with having to deal with other people in your life. Maybe it's in-laws, maybe it's just your immediate family or your coworkers, or whatever the case might be. Love interest. Who knows, right? But our emotions are challenged nonetheless. And I just want to kind of comment on these things, because what happens in so many cases is that our feelings run away with themselves, don't they? And when they do that, we get ourselves into trouble. We either just make ourselves feel worse when we're doing something that people oftentimes tell us we should do, which is get it out of your system, express it, talk to them about this. Have you told them how you feel? And you need to confront them. You need to tell them how it is. You need to tell them, you need to be respected, and they need to consider your feelings. Well, oftentimes all things like that can be very counterproductive. And I know, because I'm just like everybody else. I do all these things. I've done it a bunch of times, and despite knowing, what I should do and what I should not do, I still flub up a lot. Still all the time. But from time to time, you come across some words of wisdom that really speak to you, and it should give you some pause. And it does me. That's why I'm talking to you about it now. There's a 17th century philosopher named Baruch Spinoza, and he once said, "Do not weep, do not wax indignant, understand." Do not weep, do not wax indignant, understand. What he was basically saying here is, I think it's kind of self-explanatory, is that when we're weeping over something, it doesn't have to be literal weeping, it could be an emotional outpouring, so much so that someone would say, look what they're crying about again. Or you could literally be shedding tears. Nevertheless, it's an expression of emotional helplessness. And it's easier to assign ourselves to that if we really don't know any other way to cope. Because if we can claim some kind of victimization, some kind of helplessness, some kind of powerlessness, well then we're not really responsible anymore, are we? Becomes easier. Lights. Yeah. I don't know how well you can see that, but yeah. Hope that's not blurry. Anyway, it becomes easier to just throw up our hands and say, well, I'm just going to sit in a corner and suck my thumb because I don't know what else to do. It's getting really dark up here. Hopefully you'll still be able to see me. But yeah, there's that. There's that emotional helplessness. But how often, think about it. You might think to yourself, well, that's just crazy. But how often have you done it? We've all done it over something, you know. It may not be literal tears, but there's a sadness or a relinquishing of control of ourselves in certain moments. And the other part, he said, do not wax indignant. In many cases, when we're struggling with relationships, and I would say that most of our problems in life are related to relationships. I mean, I would say 99% of our problems are relationship problems in some way or another, all across the board, if you think about it. But when we're upset that maybe someone has spoken ill of us, plane going overhead, pretty loud from where I'm standing, but maybe someone has spoken ill of us. Maybe someone has taken advantage of us in some way. Maybe someone isn't communicating with us in a way that says, hey, my relationship with you is valuable. It could be that. It could be that. And, you know, like people who can't answer a question directly, people who can't get deep into a conversation and you care about them. And I can switch arms here. But yeah, that can be challenging nonetheless. And so that's frustrating, but it's not just that. It could be any number, it could be a whole host of relationship problems that really gripe us. And one of the things that we'll do is we'll vent. You know, if you hit your thumb with a hammer, you're going to say, ouch. When someone's in pain, they're going to express it most of the time. Most people don't believe there's a virtue in bottling anything up. They say, oh, it's always best to get it out. Not all the time. And I think there's a right way and a wrong way to do it. But one of the wrong ways that people handle things is they show how angry and upset they are. And what it does is it assumes a position of moral superiority, which doesn't really help you. It doesn't help you or the person that you're upset about, right? So there's that. Moral superiority and emotional helplessness. Those two things. So what do you do? What do you do in these cases? Well, according to Spinoza, I feel like I really dragged that out. Spinoza, according to him, we should seek to understand. Clarity, seeking clarity, can really diffuse a lot of emotional angst. Can really diffuse it. Now, it's not the answer to everything. Seeking clarity doesn't guarantee that you're going to find it. But it puts you in a better frame of mind. It does make you feel you have a little more control and a little more maturity to you if you're actually trying to seek understanding of a situation. And what happens is you might come to understand a person or a thing or a situation better. And you might say to yourself, I get it now. I get it why they are this way. I get why they do this thing. And it makes you a little more sympathetic, right? No, not in all cases. Not in all cases. In some cases, either you still won't understand, Or you'll understand and you'll say to yourself, it still upsets me. But nevertheless, that's the action that you've taken. It's a step toward clarity. And I think it's a powerful move. I think it's a wise gambit. So that's what you do, is seek clarity. Even if you can't really come to an understanding of something, it still helps you focus your energies in a way that's productive rather than counterproductive. And let me think if there's anything else I want to add to that as I'm walking through here. Well, probably not. I mean, it's a pretty simple thing to understand. You know, I read this earlier and I thought this makes a lot of sense. But, oh, dog's barking at me. Makes a lot of sense, but I think what hurts us is not that we don't know this, because I think most of us really know down deep inside this is common sense. But I think what you have to do is you have to determine that this is the way you're going to handle a problem, right? For all intents and purposes, let's call it that. This is how we're going to handle a problem. You have to be resolute. You have to be intentional about doing that. Without intentionality, it's kind of hard to know what to do. We just cope in whatever way that we can. When something crops up that we don't like, someone's upset us, someone's done us wrong. You may know them, you may not. And what do? You cry about it, or you get angry. You say things, then you have regret or shame. You certainly don't feel more mature. You certainly don't feel like the adult, and that becomes more and more clear the older you get. So, yeah. I don't know, it's my 2 cents. Just thoughts I had for the night here. Here's some more decorations. Yeah. I wish I had a lot more to show you. There is some on the other side here, though. All right. Well, anyway, guys, I'm going to get going, and I hope that you've gotten something out of it. I hope you enjoy the rest of your night, and pass this on to somebody else that probably needs to hear it. Maybe this was a good reminder for you. Leave your comments down below. All right, guys. If I don't get back to you before Christmas, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. All right. I'll catch you in the next one. In the meantime, be wise.